Folks, I've been saying it for a while, and apparently it's fallen on some deaf ears, but Hollywood really doesn't need China. And if they learned this and learned the other lessons, they would learn that, well, they don't need China. Welcome back, everybody. It's your buddy Owen Che here to bring you another video. Report: Hollywood is falling big in China, with 0 American movies making the top 10 for 2023. So let's get into this article by Stephen Kent. Americans aren't the only ones rejecting the reheated gruel Hollywood is producing. A new report from the New York Times shows that in 2023, approximately 0 American movies made it into the top 10 for China's box office, prompting renewed concerns with the global film industry that movie studios have lost their way. Despite their release of highly anticipated sequels in Mission Impossible, Fast and Furious, and Spider-Man franchises, none have managed to get a foothold in China's lucrative market. Lucrative? How about corrupt? But anyway, the New York Times data comes from Maoan, a Chinese entertainment analytic provider, and they show that neither Oppenheimer nor Barbie, 2 of Hollywood's biggest financial hits in the previous year, made it into the top 30 at the Chinese box office. Professor Stanley Rosen from the University of California, or Southern California, an expert in Chinese politics and film industry, told the New York Times the days when a Hollywood film would make hundreds of millions of US dollars in China, that's gone. Well, here's the thing, folks. We had 2 movies that were banned in China over the last few years. 2 movies. One was The Joker, and one was Top Gun Maverick. Both movies made over $1 billion around the world without China's help. People actually liked The Joker and Top Gun Maverick. Hollywood didn't because, they plus politicians and stuff were saying, oh, they're just right-wing nonsense movies. Except they were the ones that were banned from China and got over $1 billion each. And in fact, The Joker beat out Star Wars, which got a Chinese release, which had an extended release, and still came up short of Joker. Yeah, and yet Hollywood doesn't seem to be taking anything from that. You see, if you would stop pushing this stupid identity politics narrative, where you need to focus on a person's sexuality or skin color in the marketing and whatnot, and if you would actually stop your talent from insulting fans, you might actually make a little bit more money, and you might have improved quality in your film. You see, Top Gun Maverick had no agenda. It had diversity, sure, but it was diversity done right. Joker had no agenda. Had diversity, but then again, diversity done right. And yet, the media and, hell, even our U.S. government was pissed off about the Joker. They put the frickin' military on alert. And the FBI was worried and whatnot. And New York City had cops going to the theaters because, they were afraid that people were going to start shooting and, horrible violence and all that stuff. Turned out there was maybe 1 or 2 small little incidents that were not violent in the least. A dude that was a little bit drunk and spit in another person's soda, and another person who was just acting a fool and got hauled out in cuffs. No violence. But hey, let's continue. Hollywood's historic appeal with Chinese audiences dates back to at least 1994 with the release of Harrison Ford's blockbuster The Fugitive. In 2012, 7 out of the top 10 highest grossing movies in China were American made. But something has changed. Chinese audiences have been increasingly turning to domestically produced films such as A Full River Red and Wandering Earth 2, which emerged in the top movies in 2023. The trend reflects Chinese domestic efforts to elevate the quality of its own film industry, diverting viewership away from Hollywood productions. The Chinese Communist Party influence is obvious. The government actively supports and promotes Chinese filmmaking, and top grossing films in China include The Battle at Lake Changjin and Wolf Warrior 2, which both feature patriotic messages about triumph over American adversaries. China is actively seeking to shape its cultural narrative and unite its people around CCP doctrines. They do this while simultaneously pushing their values into American studies and onto American audiences, and suppressing Americans' more liberal values in their own market. Warner Brothers most notably removed dialogue from Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, which alluded to Dumbledore being gay. It's not lost on American audiences that Hollywood treats their values of diversity and inclusion as a sacred imperative domestically, but happily caves to foreign pressure to extract box office revenue from China's market. Americans have grown far too familiar with incidents of Chinese censorship of American studios. There was the uproar over Top Gun Maverick regarding Tom Cruise donning a Taiwan flag patch on his jacket, and even the contentious depiction of South Sea China map in the Barbie movie. Disney infamously chose Xinjiang province of China as the film location for its live-action Mulan, an area where an estimated 1 million Muslim Uyghurs are reportedly detained in concentration camps. They only put camps, but they're actually concentration camps. You know, kind of like what a certain German dictator in the 30s and 40s was doing to Jewish people. Yeah, that's what they do to the Muslim Uyghurs over in China. Yeah. So, moving on. At the time, the House of Mouse thanked China for its cooperation in the film's credits, acknowledging 8 government entities in Xinjiang, including the Public Security Bureau in the city of Turpan. The credits also expressed gratitude to the Publicity Department of the CPC, Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region Committee, and agency involving in the production state propaganda initiatives and the suppression of information about the Uyghur camps. And here's the photo here, folks. Shows, or I'll leave it here for you to absorb this information. Now continuing on. While Hollywood once enjoyed widespread success in China, recent releases have faced challenges. Warner Brothers' Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom struggled at the Chinese box office, grossing a mere $60 million in weeks despite heavy promotion from actor Jason Momoa. This decline contrasts sharply with the $293 million grossed by the first Aquaman movie in China back in 2018, highlighting the evolved preferences of Chinese moviegoers and control by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Two things are happening here. China's market is closing under tighter control and nationalism from the Chinese Communist Party. The culture is rapidly turning against any sort of cross-pollination with Western values and storytelling. Repeated clashes with American studios over content have resulted in a few wins for the CCP, where Hollywood has censored their own movies in order to access the market, but still underwhelmed Chinese moviegoers. Well, that's because Chinese moviegoers are also against identity politics. If you would stop with that bullshit, they might actually care. But hey, it just goes to show that Hollywood has lost the plot. At the same time, Hollywood has tried to have it both ways by prioritizing films that will sell in China and censoring Western values in the process, while simultaneously lecturing American audiences about morality in the media at the academy level. The balancing act is falling apart. Will Hollywood return to making movies that Americans are proud of and champion our traditional values? Only time will tell. No, they won't. Honestly, no, they actually won't. Because Hollywood, just look at their talent on Twitter. They're constantly anti-American. The blacklisted actors, however, they do have American traditional values. And they're only blacklisted because they are traditionally American. They have no problem being outspoken about it. However, it has cost them their jobs in Hollywood. And I really do wish that who was it that did this article? All the way up. I wish that Stephen Kent would have mentioned the Joker, as the Joker was also one that was banned in China and still won $1 billion. That outshone Star Wars. Folks, that is an actual truth. But yeah, Hollywood needs to understand it's that their constant racial narratives and their constant sexualized narratives are what's leading to the decay of Hollywood's box office. You had that $1 billion fluke with Barbie. And I will continue to say that. It is a fucking fluke. People went, they got suckered in by the nostalgia. They went in, and a lot of them came out saying, oh my God, this movie was terrible. And then you do have some who did like it, and that is fine. But it is a $1 billion fluke. Where then you also have movies like Oppenheimer. And I haven't not seen yet that, so I can't, or seen that yet, sorry. So I cannot really comment on it. However, I do remember Top Gun Maverick. I do remember The Joker. And I do remember that those movies did extremely well, even without China. It just goes to show that if you make a movie well, if you focus on the content of the movie and the quality over the narratives pushed by Hollywood, you will have a movie that people will go and see and love. The only reason that Sound of Freedom didn't do as good as it could have done, I believe that could have been a $1 billion production. The only reason why it didn't do as good was because it was heavily suppressed. They only put that movie in limited theaters. However, it still made second week grosses that surpassed the first week. It also made records for 4th of July records and whatnot. So yeah, there were movies that were done that were so good, and yet it's because they weren't woke enough that the Hollywood fools didn't really think much of them and did their best to suppress them. So yeah, you also notice that if you look at the Academy nominations, it's due to you didn't have enough diversity in the movie that Godzilla -1 was snubbed at the Academy nominations. Best visual effects is all that they got a nomination for, when honestly they should have had a clean sweep of nominations. But anyway, folks, that is going to be the video. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think of Hollywood? Do you think that they need to go back to making movies the way that we like, with more traditional American values? Or do you think that the wokeness that's causing them to fall and fail is good enough, and that people are just bigots? Let me know all your thoughts, folks. Different opinions are welcome as long as you keep them respectful. Anyway, this has been Orange Hat. Y'all have a wonderful day, and always remember to stay humble.